Good morning. Sitting on the edge of my bed on my quiet time, and I was having a thought. I made a video the other day about everyone gets a case of the times, and I really feel like I needed to clarify it a bit more. Um, you know, I've personally lived, for the most part, with this like low level of depression, for the last 7 years, I'd say, and honestly, it was probably a good part of the last 18 years, if I'm being honest, or 18 and a half, almost 19 years since I started following God, really. And it was in large part because, God spoke some things to me when I met him that, hadn't happened or, yet. It was a person, and it was also a vision that he gave me for my life and how he wanted to use me. And just carrying that, those things that I heard and not having them come to pass, it felt like my life was on hold in many ways. And it would, to stay in the center of God's will and wait for him when the things weren't happening was painful. It definitely affected my mood and my emotions. It's almost like, how do you even live your life? How do you move on while you're waiting for this thing to happen that is really out of your control? And it would have been very easy for me to numb the pain, to do something to take the pain away. Like in the last, 6.5 years, I could have done numerous things. I could have gone back to the bar. I could have drank again. That would have made me feel better temporarily, I'm sure. Of course, that would have created problems down the road. I could have gone out and said, well, this person hasn't came along yet, and there's no even sign of her, like God's forgotten about me, and gone out and dated and married someone else. And that would have taken away the pain temporarily, but probably created a mess down the road. But I was doing, and I've been doing everything in my power to hang on and stay in the will of God, stay in the center of his will. And it's been really painful at times. And even when it's not really painful, it's still been kind of painful. It's still been like a low level of depression. And, when I talk about having things, so that you don't go off and do something that's going to create a mess later, I really mean that. For you, it could be a piece of chocolate cake. It could be a cheesesteak sub. Sometimes I'll do that when I get really down. Something that, even though it's probably less than the best that you could do, it's a treat. It gives yourself something to numb the pain a little bit, I guess, because your feelings will change ultimately as they'll pass, and sometimes rather quickly they'll pass, and you'll be back to a point where you're good and you can start making progress again and still believe him, because I do know that God is faithful, and he doesn't make promises that he won't keep. So it's just a matter of getting to them. It's a matter of continuing to believe and hanging on and pressing on and getting through all that emotional roller coaster that you're going to go through in order to get to the promise that he's given you. So anyway, that's my thought for the day. Stay faithful, fight the good fight. Bye.